it to. So my name is Sophie Lewis and I'm the Chief Executive of NCO. And as I say, it's a great pleasure to welcome you all here this afternoon. And my team are now going to introduce themselves and I'll just hand over to Kath.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Catherine Arlidge. I'm the Artistic and Educational Director of NCO. So I'm largely in charge of auditions and programming and the repertoire that we play and the music and educational activity on all our courses. And now I'm going to hand over to our very celebrity guest in orange. Over to you, Nayan.
Hi, I'm Nayan and I play the trumpet for NCO. They're under 13s at the moment. And I've been part of NCO for 6 years so far. Now, over to Becky.
Fantastic, thank you so much. So I'm Becky, I'm Communications Director for NCO. So everything that you find out about NCO, we've been trying to craft so that you know everything you need to know. And we make sure that all your wonderful stories are shared far and wide. And I'm going to hand over to Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. I'm the Communications Administrator at NCO. And chances are, if you receive a single email from NCO, it's probably been typed by me. That's pretty much, you're going to hear from me a lot. And now finally, I'll pass to my colleague, Chris.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Green, the Planning and Production Director, and I work with the operations team. So we do everything from planning dates, booking venues, liaising with tutors, finding weird and wonderful instruments, everything to ensure your child is happy, safe, and has the best orchestra experience possible. So I'm going to hand back to Kath.
Great, well, thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to kick off with a screen share just to tell you all a little bit more about NCO. So NCO is, what we're going to do today actually is we're going to tell you a little bit about who we are, what musical activities we do, our national activities and our projects activities, tell you about what we teach, about our digital activity and all the support that we can give your children, give you a little bit of guidance on auditions, and then we're going to stop the recording of this session and have a sort of open house question time, and you can put your questions in the Q&A. I'd urge you to wait until we've kind of finished the presentation before you ask your questions, because we may well answer them as we go through the presentation, but of course, you know, make a note of them in case we don't. So you don't really need to take notes today, because all this information is on our website. If you click on join in and audition information, and then within the audition information there is a big PDF that you can click on that starts like this, and it tells you all the information that is in this presentation as well. So no need to take any notes today. So first of all, who are we? Well, you've seen those of us who are on this call today, but the NCO is obviously made up of 650 children who are the most important people in our organisation, aged 8 to 14. And at the moment we have 7 symphony orchestras. These are big orchestras of, you know, between kind of 90 and sometimes up to 110 children. And it's a fully auditioned programme. And we're here really to provide incredible orchestral experiences for young children, and to ensure that they're happy and healthy as they're playing music, and that they take part in performances of real exceptional quality. We want them to be the best musicians that they can possibly be. We want them to be creative, we want them to be healthy, and we want them to make friends, and we want them to have fun. So that's what we do, and it's all supported by an amazing team of orchestral coaches, tutors, teachers, orchestral players, professional players, amazing conductors, and guest artists from all around the world, actually. So it's a really exceptional and brilliant and unique program, actually, in the UK and actually internationally too. So I'll start by playing a little clip here of our main orchestra playing a little bit of Mahler 1 to give you a flavour of what they can achieve. So there you have it, a little bit of Marla 1. Now, Sophie and I are the leadership or part of the leadership team at NCO. As you've seen, Sophie is the Chief Executive and I'm the Artistic and Educational Director. And this is the team that we have in the office. So a combination of operations, of development, of finance, of tech, of library, and strategy and pretty much everything. Not all of us are full-time, but a busy team, very busy team in the background, making sure all the activity is as well run and professional as it possibly can be. We work with a large pool of freelance music tutors who are from really right across the UK and beyond, who are not only experts in their instrument, but they're also expert teachers and communicators, and really incredible bunch of people that we're really privileged to work alongside. They run sectionals, sometimes big sectionals for all the woodwind together, or sometimes on the national courses, each smaller group of instruments has their dedicated own section. So this is a clarinet section in action. And I'll just give you a little flavour of one of our tutors that Nayan might well know. So that gives you a little flavour of how much fun and how creative our tutors are. Now, alongside our musical teams, we also have support teams. So we have orchestral managers supporting on all courses, and support managers, and also support teams. And the support teams are a whole nother group of people that are dedicated to looking after the children and entertaining them and making sure they're all fine when they're not in the orchestra or in their sectionals making music. And the two teams dovetail one to the other. And on our residential courses, we have a nurse in residence for the whole time that we're there. We also have students. A lot of students are really interested in the work that we do. So we have students on placements, and we also have students acting as mentors, which is a great way for them to get experience, but also lovely for the young children to see young musicians who are kind of not so much older than themselves. So they're part of our team as well. So on to our musical activities. We're going to start with our national orchestras. These take place on residentials in the spring and the summer holidays, and culminate in concert performances in public concert venues for the most part. So we have 3 national orchestras age banded under 12s, which are year 7, under 13s year 8, and main orchestra is year 9. And it's just exclusively for those year groups. So they're exactly with their peers in all these orchestras. They take place in schools across the country. At Easter, we were at Sherborne Girls, and we're going to be there again in the summer in Dorset. And this is the hall. This is one of our orchestras rehearsing at Sherborne Girls. A great space and venue for us, and lots to do there. That's one of our wellbeing leads, doing some relaxation with the children in one of the afternoon sessions. Lots of outdoor space. So this is recreation time for our orchestra. Of course, there's great food on offer. And this is, I think this is one of our orchestras from this very Easter. And these are the activities that they got up to in Sherborne. This is actually in the concert venue. This is a rehearsal for the concert just before they put their concert clothes on. And here they are in their concert outfit right before the concert that they're about to play. And yeah, It was a lot of fun and a very ambitious program, and they nailed it. And here's just a little clip to give you a little bit more of a flavour of, this is our under 13s orchestra. The one you heard earlier was our main. So this is the orchestra one down from the top, playing a little tiny bit of West Side Story. So what kind of music do we play? Actually, I'm going to come out of the screen share and actually see if I can draw in Nayan now. Could you tell us, Nayan, a little bit about what it's like to be on the courses? Imagine there's lots of children out there thinking, should they join NCO? What's it like? Tell us what it's like on a course.
So I think a course is actually great fun for me. I've really enjoyed most of the courses that I've been on. Firstly, it's because you get to play loads of new pieces, but it's also like the social side, making friends, and finally like meeting the professionals, the tutors. With the trailer of Matt, he was my tutor this Easter, and he taught me quite a lot this Easter, like warm-up exercises. It's quite enjoyable.
Great. What about the food and things like that? What's it like on the courses?
The food, I actually really like the food. Like my school food, I don't really enjoy it that much, but like this food here is actually amazing, especially for breakfast. On our course, we got like bacon or sausages nearly every day. There's a wide range of cereal. Then we have lunch breaks and dinner. Also, we have recreation, and we have the tuck shop, which is one of my favourite parts. You get sweets. Yeah, it's fun.
Great, fantastic. Thank you for that. Right, let's carry on and look a little bit at the repertoire and the kind of music that we play. So this is an example of what we did this Easter. We worked with our main orchestra, with George and with Jonathan Bloxham, and they played a really ambitious program. We are very ambitious with the repertoire that we do, and they work incredibly hard over the week to really progress and really learn some very complicated repertoire. So Stravinsky's Firebird, Hannah Kendall's Spark Catchers, Cathédrale Engloutie by Debussy, Debbie Wiseman piece, The Blue Whale, Smetana's Vltava, and the Congo del Fuego. So that was a fire and water program. Again, very big orchestra, big orchestrations, harps, lots of percussion. Everybody's really busy. And these are the composers that were featured in that program. And they did their concert at the Portsmouth Guildhall. And the under-13s, which Nayan was in this Easter, and they played a fantastic program, Visions of America, with the La La Land Concert Suite, Florence Price's Mississippi River Suite, Leonard Bernstein's West Side Story Overture, and Grofe's Grand Canyon Suite. So again, very sort of cinematic, big, lush orchestras. And that's one of the things that people often tell us, is that children have rarely played in orchestras of this size or of this level when they come to NCO to perform this kind of repertoire. And those are the composers that were involved in that program. And they had their concert at the Lighthouse in Poole. And finally, our under 12s worked with Rebecca Miller this Easter. And this is the music they played: Vaughan Williams, William Grant Still, Khachaturian, Florence Price again, Holst, the Mars from the famous Mars from the Planets, Samuel Coleridge Taylor, and some Elgar at the end. So a real mixture and variety there of music. Now I'm going to bring in Nayan's dad, who hasn't yet introduced himself, but could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the programming and what your experience of, as a parent has been like of NCO?
Yes, so I'm Fagun. I'm Nayan's father, and I've actually been lucky enough to be know about NCO for 8-9 years. My oldest son also was an NCO in according to the projects program. So that was fantastic. I think from our perspective, I think one thing is it's a very ambitious program, but don't feel scared from the children's perspective. It's amazing how much progress you make in a week. It's amazing how much they learn, and they progress during that week. And the concert at the end, you would not imagine the quality of the performance at the end of that week, sort of learning around that.
Great. And what about the kind of composers and the repertoire choices that we make?
So as you sort of showed on your previous slides, it is such a broad eclectic range. So it's not just the traditional classical curriculum. I think one of the amazing things with NCO, especially the last couple of years, is you're introducing new composers which we haven't necessarily heard of before. And it is a lot more inclusive in that knowledge, so which is great to teach the children, because that's what you learn. And for example, when we hear the music later on, it's in the car or rest of it, they say, oh, I played that, or I recognize that piece. So it does broaden that. I think the other thing is that because Nayan's a great film buff, so playing a bit of John Williams and a bit of La La Land, for example. So it's nice to have not just traditional music, but actually modern music as well, and introducing whether it's Beyonce or the rest of it. There's a broader range of activities and music in there.
Yeah, Nayan, tell us about playing La La Land, because you had a big part in that, didn't you, at Easter?
Yes, so La La Land was quite an interesting piece because I had a solo in it. It went quite well in the day and had to practice a lot. Yeah, so it's quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunities are made from NCO.
Fantastic. Yeah, and you did amazingly. It was absolutely brilliant. I love that piece, and I love to hear you playing it particularly. Great. So moving on from repertoire. Oh, again, that was the repertoire of the under 12s course. Quite a mixture of composers there, and their concert was in-house at the venue that they were staying at. So in 2023, our under 12s orchestra is going to have a 7-day residential in spring, and our main orchestra and under 13s have 8-day residentials. And the dates are not totally confirmed, but they will either start on the 1st of April or the 9th of April next Easter. We're really, really close to being able to confirm, and we'll confirm them as soon as we can. And in the summer, it'll be the same, 7 days for under 12s and 8 days for main and under 13s. And that will happen in a 4-week period between the 23rd of July and the 20th of August. So you'll each have an 8-day or 7-day slot within that time. And again, we will be, we'll let you know those dates as soon as we possibly can, and it will be very soon. And then the main orchestra have a winter weekend as well when they come back together, because they're our leavers, really, which is very sad. So we celebrate them in a kind of leaving event in the winter weekend, which will be sort of late November time. So now on to our projects program. That was our nationals program and our projects program. The essential difference is that when the nationals are for age-banded 1-year group, the projects are for mixed ages. There are 2 non-residential weekends in London, the Midlands and Bolton, and that happens through the year. So the year will start in January for us and go through to August, but the non-residential weekends are in March and in June next year. And so we have an orchestra in London, we call London Purple, we have an orchestra in the Midlands, we have an orchestra in Bolton, and we have another orchestra in London. Hopefully different places within London. And these are some little pictures. We've just done our final projects weekend of 2022. That's London Yellow at Highgate School there. And this is Bolton, some of the children in Bolton having a lot of fun. And it was great. The projects were really, really exciting working with children at mixed ages and mixed experiences. That was the Birmingham one at King Edward's School with Holly Matheson. And the one thing about the projects weekends is it allows us to work with some really big guest artists. So for example, we had Jess Gillam working with us at the Birmingham projects, and because they just come along for a weekend or for a day of the weekend, we can actually access some really incredible artists to come along and introduce themselves to the children and be absolutely inspirational. And they all want to work with us, and because our children are so wonderful. So it's a great opportunity to meet some of these inspirational characters. And so these are some of the guest artists that we've worked with over this year. I'm not sure how many of them you will know. Obviously, Jess Gillam, Erin Nakugbo, Katie Stillman, Simi Singh, Dominic Wheeler, Holly Matheson, Jennifer Pike, Jonathan Bloxham, Nate Holder, Karen Hoff-Smith, Chloe Rook, and Natalia Lewis-Basser. So those are the people that we've been working this year, and many of them will be on the itinerary again next year, I hope. So the difference in projects is it has a slightly wider entry point. So there are slightly different levels within the orchestra. So what we do with that is that we have different graded parts so that everyone can have an experience that's tailored to their level and their learning. So you can have grade 8 musicians within projects, and you could have grade 4 musicians within projects, and they will still play the same music, not literally the same notes necessarily, but the same music, and have a positive learning experience. They have sectionals as they do with the nationals. We have guest artists, we have great conductors. So it's very much the same kind of input as we would have on the national course. It's just more local to you, and it's just slightly more mixed and collaborative learning. So it's a great program, and we've been really successful with it this year, and I'm hoping it'll be just as successful next year. So projects are for children aged 8 to 13 in school years 4 to 9. They're non-residential and they're weekends. And the 2 weekends, we will let you know again as soon as we can. They'll either be the 5th and 6th of March, or the 11th and 12th of March, or the 11th and 12th of June, or the 17th and 18th of June. So that's the projects, the commitment to projects. And we do ask you to come to both weekends because the learning is connected. So if you live in Greater London, the South East, Northern Ireland, or anywhere that isn't mentioned later on in this slide, you will probably be invited to join London. If you're from the Southwest, the West Midlands, East of England, or Wales, you'll probably join the Midlands project. And we appreciate people travel quite some way to come and be part of this, which is fantastic. And in the north, if you're from the Northwest, the Northeast, Scotland, Yorkshire, or the Humber, you'll be at Bolton with us in our projects at Bolton School. And here's a tiny clip of the NCO Stomp, which is a piece that we had specially written for our projects orchestras, which shows it's body percussion. It's just getting the rhythm going and it was a sort of warm-up piece. Here we go. From all 4 venues. They were doing it on the same weekend. So it goes on. So those are our 4 project orchestras. So in a nutshell, this is the difference between our nationals and our projects. Our nationals are residential, 7 to 8 day courses and 2 courses in a year. And our projects are non-residential and 2 weekends. Our nationals are for age-banded orchestras years 7, 8 and 9. And our projects orchestras are for years 4 to 9. Our nationals have public concerts in big concert venues, and our projects orchestras have in-house concerts where they've been rehearsing. And the nationals are age-banded 1-year group per orchestra, and the projects have mixed ages in the group. So that is the essential difference. And you can apply to one program or the other or both and see where you end up. So the choice is yours. What do you want to audition for? What you want to be part of? So moving on, what do we teach? I'll quickly whiz through the idea of a curriculum that we have. We teach mastery, the art of really perfecting something and being brilliant at it. We teach well-being, how the children look after their minds and bodies to check they're on the same musical journey. Their creativity, so that they think about music that they want to create in their own way, and also their voices. They're not literal voices, but their opinions and their thoughts are valuable to us. So that's how the curriculum is constructed. And mastery obviously is the bulk of the work in a way that we do on the course to actually really create something that is quite remarkable at the end. We have a wellbeing team that works with us both online and in person. Sarah Opjohn is an injury prevention physiotherapist for growing musicians, and she's absolutely brilliant. Henry Cookie is a fitness guru who helps us with our fitness and conditioning to be the best musicians we can be. And Tom Taffender uses sports psychology to enhance our mental preparation for performance. So those guys are with us on the courses and also online for lots of activities. And we always warm up and we stretch, and it's a very important part of being in NCO is the well-being. And of course, it's all about having fun as well, because if children are having fun and are happy, then everything is better. So there's a few pictures of hopefully children having a bit of fun. Now, creativity. We have activities mainly on our nationals, but a little bit on our project orchestras as well. And the project where we do creativity, we call it surround sound, where the children like this group are in mixed instrumental groups, and they have to create their own piece of music based on the theme of the concert. And we share these on the courses. And there's actually an example of Jess Gillam getting involved in surround sound with one of our orchestras in the foyers. This is an example of them. They wrote some music to film scores, which they then performed for us on the courses. And yeah, I'm going to come out of that and ask Nayan a little bit about surround sound and the creative part of the course. Tell us a little bit about what it's like what's surround sound like?
So surround sound, I actually quite enjoy surround sound as well, because it allows you to choose what you want to put in your music. It gives the child a choice and a voice in their music. So in the under 13s, we had a surround sound. In our one, we were doing it on the melody "Go Down Moses," which is about slavery. So we created that idea of like singing it and changing the words to make it to modern day about like the Russians and the Ukraine. So I really enjoyed it in that sense. But it's also under a controlled environment, so we have like a tutor working with us, which helps us like get it to the best of our ability. It's quite good in that sense.
Well done. That was very well articulated. It's not easy to talk about creativity, but that was brilliantly done. Thank you. Now, moving on a little bit more to child voice, it's important to us on the courses. They take over our social media and are, of course, the heart of NCO and the image of NCO. And this is Viola's doing yoga, of course. And this is flutes on under 13s. And they're also a very big part of our evaluation and feedback processes for children. And we send out questionnaires after activity for parents and for children, so that we very much get the flavour of what everybody thinks and feels about what it is that we're doing. So hopefully we can change and evolve and improve all the time in what we're doing. So that's it. So far we've done who we are, our musical activities, our nationals and projects, and what we teach. So moving on briefly to digital, we have a big digital program that runs alongside our live activity. We have a dedicated website which is the children have individual logins to, which has all the material relevant just to your child, because there's masses of content on there. So that's where they find their music, where they find how they get into the different sectionals and events that are online, and everything's there in a central place. It's all very safe, and they can access it themselves and find everything that they need. So there's a section on My Instrument where they'll find their welcome videos, like the one we saw from Matt earlier. They'll find all their music there. They'll find access to the online sectionals. So before each live activity, we have a sectional online so they can meet the rest of their section. And so they know some people before they turn up at the courses, and they can meet their tutors, and they can ask questions, and they can prepare some of the excerpts and things that they might want to prepare before they come. So this is one of the sectionals, them having a little bit of fun with flutes. This is another sectional about what skills do you need to play in an ensemble, and lots of really creative ideas coming from the children there. And then, oh, this is a Boeing roller coaster going on in a sectional as well. So lots of different imaginative ways of engaging online. We have listening challenges there that the children can do in their own time. So some activities are live online, and some you can just dip in if you've got a spare 20 minutes. Just dip in and do one of the listening challenges and find out some new things. There's also the handbook for the children on there, which has all the information that they need to know about NCO and about any and all of the activity. There's an inspiration section where we have webinars with amazing guests. We've been really lucky to manage to attract some really incredible artists to come and talk to us and talk to our young people about what it's like to be professional musicians, but also what it's like to be creative, and just inspire and be brilliant. This was what the last one that we did, how to be the best that you can be, when we had Noel Thatcher, who's a Paralympian runner, with us along with our wellbeing team, who you met earlier on this presentation. So these are two players from the Berlin Philharmonic who did a fantastic webinar with us. We had Bill Bailey and Tamsin Gregg with us, talking about what can musicians learn from actors. And we've had Gio Compario with us, Wynne and Mark Evans, and the Academy of Balmy Composers, and it goes on and on. We've interviewed Sheku and Sheku's parents, and all these are actually freely available on YouTube for you right now. So you can go up and catch up on any of the webinars that we've done. They're a lot of fun. They're very light touch, and you learn a lot, but they're also quite playful and entertaining. So go and have a look at those. We have creative challenges online. So Jonathan James, who's one of our key creative leads, did create your own movie soundtrack to Matter of Loaf and Death. So it's an amazing runaway bicycle sequence of about 2 minutes worth of music, and the children created some really amazing soundtracks to go with that. And we've just done a Scooby-Doo one, a similar Scooby-Doo one online. We've had improvisation online. We've had musical postcards, which are these when you multi-track yourself, so you layer yourself on top of yourself. And Nayan's done one of these, but have a little look at this little gem. So there we have lots of arrangements for children to do just that themselves very easily. Then we have a pick and mix section on the website, which is where the social things happen, colouring, and we also have a task master who tasks the children with different challenges. And I'll just give you a little flavour of a task master. So the challenge for this one was to create a special effect with your instrument without using a computer. There we are, what a gem. There's a wellbeing section on our website as well, with lots of videos and resources from our amazing wellbeing team. All different sorts of things: cardio, fitness, body scanning, visualization, flexibility, posture, balance, core strength, sitting, and swish patterns. And these are all really useful and valuable things to dip in and out of, to understand how to use your body as best you can and not to injure yourself. So that's the end of digital. Now I'm just going to hand over to Sophie to talk a little bit about inclusion. The NCO is here for everyone.
Thank you, Kath. Yeah, we want NCO to be as welcoming for as many children as possible from all different backgrounds, and we're working really hard on that, and we're really committed to that over the next few years and into the future. So what that looks like at the moment is that we're able to offer auditions free of charge. You can do them at home. It doesn't matter how good your technology is. Our panelists are trained to listen and hear through that. So we're hoping that that is a good way and an easy way for you to apply to be part of NCO. There's a really great video that Kath did about auditioning that I think is in the guidance that we have, so check that out on our website. That's really helpful. And also, we are just here to help. If you're not sure about something, it doesn't matter how big or small your question is, please do email us at auditions@nco.org.uk, and we'll write back to you and we'll help you in any way that we can. At the moment, there are 624 members of NCO this year, and they're aged between 8 and 14. They come from 79% of English postcodes, so they really are drawn from all over England. They also come from Wales, from Scotland, and from Northern Ireland. The vast majority of the children in NCO are in state or private school, and there are smaller numbers of those in specialist music schools and who are homeschooled. And not all our parents are musicians. Some of them are not, and some of us are not either. So no question is a silly question. We are here to help both the children and the parents to feel as welcome and as possible, and that they belong to NCO. So in terms of support, if your child is offered a place, before the activity, there's an opportunity for you to tell us anything we need to know so that we can make sure that they have the best possible experience. So you'll fill in a form that tells us any of the sort of physical or emotional needs that your child might have, and we will follow that up with a call with you directly. When you arrive at the activity, our support team, and as Catherine has mentioned, that consists at residentials of a nurse, but everywhere else also of support managers and a support team. Now, some of these are specialist managers in safeguarding. They often work in education, and we offer them regular training to make sure that we're totally up to date. So this is a fantastic workforce that we have, and they're on hand when you drop your child off. If you want to have any kind of reassuring chat with any of those, they are there to have that with you. And throughout the activity, if there's any problems, we will be in touch with you. You can email us, you can call us, we can arrange for you to have a chat with your child, anything to make sure that things are okay, so that everybody feels that they're having the best time and that they're fully supported. And we're working really hard to develop all of that side of things at NCO. So then the next slide, I think, is around cost. I think this is all on our website, but the national programme is £1,750 for the under 12 and under 13 orchestras, and £1,950 for the main orchestra. The main difference for that, reason for that difference, is the extra activity in the autumn for that oldest orchestra. And you can see there what the value of that is listed out under each of those different programs. Obviously, you've got the live activity that takes part, that's taking place, and the performance activity. And then everybody is part of the digital program that runs roughly from the end of January to the end of August. And of course, we bring all these specialists and amazingly inspirational people together to give every child the best high quality experience possible in orchestral training. And for those who may struggle to find that money, we run a financial support. About 25% of the children in NCO every year receive some form of financial support from us. So what happens is, if your child is offered a place, you can then apply for support if you need it. by filling in a form and letting us know some of the details around your circumstances. As a general rule of thumb, we're not able to support children whose household income is more than £68,000, but there may be extenuating circumstances around that, and there is a place in the form for you to tell us about that. And if you are successful in that, we will either, in some, depending on your income levels, we might be able to support the entire place, and therefore there would be no fees to pay at all, or we may be able to give some relief from those fees as a percentage, a discount, depending on what your income is. We are a charity, so the full cost of every place is subsidised through our fundraising. We have to raise about £500,000 a year in order to be NCO and to run our programme. And there's around £120,000 we have to raise every year in order to provide the financial support that some families need. When we get to the point of requiring payment, so that's after you've been offered, and if you have applied for financial support, that process is complete as well. The payments would then be due. They would likely be at the end of the year, at the latter part of the year. We know that's not great because of Christmas, but it's difficult for us to do it any other way. But we just wanted to just to be clear that that's normally starts towards the end of the year and then into the first few months of next year. And it is possible, of course, to pay those in instalments if you need to. So I think that's it. If you have any questions about any of that, please do email us. As I say, auditions@nco.org.uk is the place to do that, including any questions about fees or financial support. And once the offers are out, we will have a dedicated person who will be able to answer any questions about the financial support scheme, so that you're fully informed and supported if you need extra help to fill that form in, because nobody likes doing complicated forms. It's not too complicated, I promise, but it's not right up there on the best things to do on a Sunday. So we do have people to help you do that as well. So I think that's that covered. Kath?
Yeah, thank you very much. The question that is probably on your tip of your tongue is, can you buy a hoodie? Once you're offered your place, of course you can buy a hoodie, and they come in all these amazing colours. And just quickly to run through the auditions so we can get to a few questions. The auditions are now open. You have to be aged 8 to 13 on the 31st of August 2022 to be in projects, and 11 to 13 to be in our national programme. At audition, you just play 2 pieces for us, as simple as that, one fast and one slow. Record it on a mobile phone in 1 take. It shouldn't be difficult at all. You can have live accompaniment, but it's not necessary, and we won't mark you higher for having it or lower for not having it, or the other way around. It's just, if you want it, you can have it. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. But we do ask you not to have recorded accompaniment with you. We'd rather you played on your own and you played along with the recording. And there are orchestral excerpts, which are just little pieces of orchestral repertoire for violins and cellos, where we have the highest number of applicants and where it is sometimes quite hard to differentiate between different candidates. So that's why we have orchestral excerpts for those. We have a video on what we're looking for at audition on our website. And just to reiterate why we have excerpts just for these instruments is that they are the most competitive, and they are the highest numbers, partly because there are the highest numbers within the orchestras too, but also the highest number of applicants for those instruments, which is why we have the excerpts. They are only there for the national programme. So if you don't fancy doing the excerpts, you can just apply for the project programme and be done with it. And we have guidance. So here's lovely Emma to help you prepare your excerpts.
Hi, I'm here to guide you through Prokofiev's Montego and Capulets excerpt for your under 13s audition.
You shouldn't even have to take it to your teacher if you don't want to. You can if you want, but all the material you need there is there on the website to prepare your excerpts. The submission date is the 2nd of August at 9 AM. Your results will be out in mid-autumn once we've adjudicated and moderated the whole programme and created the orchestras. And the programme begins online in January, and the first activity live is in March. So why audition for NCO? Here's a tiny little film to sum it all up.
I have so many happy musical memories with NCO.
The
social side of NCO is brilliant.
My favourite thing was composing for the Wallace and Gromit soundtrack competition.
The courses were some of the best weeks of my life.
I started when I was 11 and I'm still involved with the NCO at 34. They can't get rid of me.
You make loads of friends and have a lot of fun.
NCO really taught me the true power of music.
And I would really encourage any child thinking of auditioning to just give it a go.
Hopefully you also enjoy NCO just like we did for many, many years.
I just think you should audition for NCO because it's the best thing you will ever do.
Audition for NCO and join the fun.
So there we are, finishing off with Nayan. Thank you so much. That is the end of our presentation. Could I just bring back Nayan and Fagun? I just ask you what it's like to be a parent of in NCO?
That's a great question. I think what we've got out of this, in addition to obviously what the children have learned, is we've met other parents and learned a lot from their experience as well. So made good friends there. Nayan's made friends who's known for 6-7 years now at NCO, and parents pop up and the kids pop up in lots of other situations as well, whether it's a Royal College of Music activity or etc. There's so many different things where you bump into the same sets of kids, so it's great from that perspective. So we feel very supported by NCO as well in terms of the mentoring we've had out of that situation as well.
Are you a musical parent yourself?
No, not at all. So neither my wife nor I play instruments. Both my sons play the trumpet, and obviously Nayan's doing amazingly well. But one of the things is, if we hadn't known about NCO, we wouldn't have gone down this journey, and they wouldn't have progressed as well. So, and we're very lucky that our piano teacher, or the kids' piano teacher, was an ex-NCO member, so she told us about it. But I mean, NCO has made such a big effort with these, video sessions to try and encourage and broaden that participation. So that's really, really welcome to make it available and make people aware of it. So wherever we go, we mention NCO and saying, have you thought about joining?
Great, fantastic. Thank you so much.